and welcome to Carolina Women. We are here today at Birdie James. Our friend Michelle Taylor is actually videotaping us today, Erin, which is kind of fun, along with Maria. I am thrilled to introduce you to Erin Erenberg, and we're going to talk about some subjects that are really interesting today. We were just chatting that with 5-minute segments, we cannot get into a lot of depth, but I think this is a wonderful opening and introduction to you, Erin, and the good work that you're doing. Share with our audience a little bit about goals and objectives and what you're doing right now, locally and then nationally.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to do that. So about a year ago, I co-founded an organization called the Chamber of Mothers. And the Chamber of Mothers is a nonprofit. We plan to be the biggest coalition of mothers across the country, united to create the country we want to live in and we want to bestow upon our children. This came about after the pandemic, as you know very well.
Yes.
Most mothers shouldered the burden of taking care of their children, taking care of their homes. Many of them were sort of elbowed out of the workforce.
Yes.
And were really suffering and struggling to get back on their feet. Meanwhile, there was a bill up for where we could finally get federal paid family medical leave. The U.S. is the only developed nation without paid leave. We're one of only 6 nations in the whole world without paid leave.
Wow.
And it again failed.
I realize that, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty staggering. So it failed. And I run another platform called Totem Women.
Totem, I know.
Yeah, and so I've been engaged with moms across the country, just really in conversation about what's important to them, what they need, the vision that they see of the world that they want.
The future for their kids.
The future for their kids, but also for themselves.
Sure.
I think everybody jumps to the kids. When a woman becomes a mother, there's not a lot of emphasis in our zeitgeist about how she stays whole. And so that was my reason for creating Totem. Totem means whole in Latin. So through Totem, I reach a lot of mothers across the country, and a lot of the advocacy groups that were fighting for paid family medical leave came to me and said, look, we're policy wonks. We're here in DC working on advocacy, but we don't reach the everyday mother, and we don't think she really knows what's on the line right now. Because what started as the American Family Rescue Plan got railroaded into Build Back Better, and I think most people, forget just moms across the country, thought that Build Back Better was about just bridges and roads.
Got it.
Infrastructure. Right. But in fact, they talked about childcare and paid leave as infrastructure, because when you really stop and think about it, if you have a baby and you're expected to go back to work, who's holding the baby? With no paid leave and no access to affordable childcare, what's the infrastructure for the family?
It's brilliant. Okay,
Right.
I see the correlation now.
But I think a lot of what happens with politics is the language is intentionally obfuscated that people don't really know what's happening. And so I took to social media, I really handed the keys over to some of these advocacy groups and said, why don't you come on and talk to us about Build Back Better and what it means for moms? And so I got in this advocacy fight. And honestly, Debbie, I started to feel like, oh, maybe this is what it's all been laddering up to for me. Because I'm an attorney, I've worked in entertainment, I've run a nonprofit in the past, but I was always looking for what is my specific purpose? How does this all come together? And it really really felt like this is it. The idea of taking the part of me that seeks justice and is just sort of a born advocate, and the training that I have in advocacy, and the fact that I'm in conversation with all these mothers, it just felt that there was some
organic,
intention.
authentic, and now.
Exactly. And so I'm also in conversation with some amazing women across the country who are just like me, who they might be doctors, or they're in HR, or they're authors, but they also run these platforms for mothers.
Okay.
And we all got together, I mean, truly 8 of us all across the country, and said, you know, there's a Chamber of Commerce, there's the AARP, there's the NRA, there are these really bold lobby groups advancing their affinities and what unites them. Why is there not that for mothers?
Chamber of Mothers.
Exactly. And so we kicked off.
You actually pulled it all together for even me, and I think I know how it evolved, but this is amazing.
Well, thank you.
What we're doing today is really introducing you to Erin and to the Chamber of Mothers. We'd like to have you come on a lot and really chat with us about what we can do to participate, what we can do to advocate. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us. There's a lot more to come here on Carolina Women.